Welcome to Rangers Radio on the Matchday show, the world's one and only unique live phone-in show for Rangers supporters all over the world. Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Hello, good evening, welcome back to Rangers Radio. Motherwell 1, Rangers 1, and a disappointing performance, disappointing result, and a disappointing outcome. Join myself, Oxley, back in the show. Is Robert? Well, you nearly got it right, young man.
Nearly, but nearly's not good enough, mate.
No, look, we'll come to the end, but we got a brilliant start, mate. A lovely goal, great play with Monday, length of the park, the move. He's always struggled with the way he's passing. Perfect way to pass. Nico Raskin, great run. 1-0, mate, yes?
Aye, mate, good start. Good passing out from the back as well. Used the space well. Diamandi does excellent to spin away, and as you say, the timing of the pass and the weight of it is on key. And Raskin get forward, which I spoke about in the pre-show that he might do. And he took a goal well, mate.
Aye. But then we started struggling. I get they play good football, but look, young Mikey, in the first half particular, looked like he is. He's a boy learning his trade. We know he's got ability in that, but Gassama, at times, he doesn't go with his runners. You wouldn't have known he was on the park. So we weren't keeping the ball up front. It was coming back to us in the midfield. And sometimes we're putting myself under pressure with our choice of pass, Tav, Suter. Butland, with three experienced players, is putting us into pressure. And I thought my best player in the first half was the Jiga, mate. And that tells you everything you need to know.
Aye, I kind of disagree, mate. To be honest with you, the ball retention was very poor from us. Kept giving that away. Sloppy pass, couldn't really get out of half, and Motherwell kept the pressure on. They responded better to going 1-0 down than we did going 1-0 up, mate. That's the bottom line. And I thought up to obviously towards the end, I thought Jiga and Suter kind of dealt with stuff well that they did need to do. But obviously near the end of the game, a lapse of concentration. You've got an extra man in the box there, and somehow they find a way in. So disappointing, mate.
Aye. We stopped playing, mate. We stopped playing. We got what we deserved, right? So we started the second half, and we pretty much controlled the second half, but created nothing, mate. Nothing, and we were working hard in the midfield and winning balls back. And, we were, I thought, again, Jiga stepping in and playing all right. Suter at times also. But they still, for some reason, still looked more likely than we did. But we weren't creating a lot. And again, I didn't think Moore, Chamiti had a couple of moments where he could have got involved. Moore got better as the game went on, but Gassman, he wouldn't know he was on the park. Diamandi fell out it, and Raskin, the two of them had to watch themselves because they'd both been booked, mate. And then so you're walking on eggshells, got to watch what you do. But we've not got the personnel to change it. And then but the first substitution we make, we bring big Nadiri on for Diamandi. And I'm thinking, wow, are we going to change shape here? But we didn't. He went on and played in the sort of midfield role, and the boy showed he's not a bad footballer. We've not really seen much of him, and he worked hard. But we never created nothing, Robert. Yeah? Even, I'll come to the second half in a minute, even with all the possession, well, not all the possession, we had all the territory in the second half, yeah.
Aye, we didn't create anything, mate. The only really big chance was also the one that fell with Chamiti late on in the first half. That's the only kind of chance I can remember us creating anything really.
And we
second
didn't
half
really,
we tried, but didn't penetrate too much at all.
We didn't really create that, mate, did we? I mean, it was a clearance that hit half Chamiti and fell for him, yeah.
Aye.
And then, obviously, the goalie saved it, then he hit the defender. Both on target, but he could have done slightly better. If you hit the grass with no conditions, mate, it's going to take half of it. But the second half, mate, a lot of territory, nothing. Again, I was disappointed in Danny Rowe. I thought he waited too long to make his substitutions, mate, in my opinion, yeah.
Yeah, I felt the game kind of needed some freshness, especially the wide areas. Mikey Moore did grow into the game kind of late on, but at the time where I thought subs would be made, him and Gassama up to that point hadn't really contributed. Gassama was on longer than I expected, but I'm not going to just pin it on him, obviously, because
No. It's a
the
one
rest of the
team,
rest of the teammate forward, there was just nothing. So I felt the game was crying out for a bit of freshness, which I think obviously we'll touch on the red card. I thought if after that game that happened, then the substitutes would have brought the energy and the impact it would have done, but it wasn't to be.
And then we brings Fernandez, big Fernandez on. We bring, and then we bring Sterling on, and Asgard, yeah,
Yep.
Miovski, you know. I mean, they were on to maybe see it again, but our shape just get worse and worse and worse. And against 10 men, mate, we're giving them space in both flanks, you know. And I don't know about you, I would have Romans and went to the fore and put just, I don't know if I'd have took Tav off, mate. I'd have brought Sterling on and I'd brought Romans on and try to keep our shape as much as possible, yeah. And obviously, Big Chermiti ran his race, so I understood that with Miovski, but you could have just moved. You could have just moved the Naderi up front and just went with a different shape, a 4-5-1 or something, mate, just to see the game out against 10.
Aye, there's a lot of kind of question marks and could have done this and could have done that.
Aye,
It's probably
it's hindsight after the game. If you don't concede that goal, mate, I don't know where it came from, mate. There's, you know, and the guy's pretty much free at the back post, and he's on Magoma, isn't he?
I think it was. I need to watch it back. I'm sure it was Magoma or Giga that he gets over the top of, and then it obviously finds its way to their man, which was frustrating as well because you've obviously got that extra man in the park. There shouldn't be any kind of time or space for them to get any sort of contact in the ball. So disappointing, obviously, the result, mate, given obviously the points on the table and what's at stake and stuff. So a real frustrating night, but again, it was a game that you look at that we didn't really create to win a game.
No, it's a lot similar to the Hibs game away from him, mate. You know, we've got to do better. We've got to create better. Yeah, you know, and we didn't. And I think we've got to be more offensive at times. And we had that the second half. And we'll touch on the sending off now, mate. First time I seen it, I thought it was a red card. I mean, he caught him. He wasn't close to the ball, and he caught him at the back of the calf. It looked like the way he was turning, mate. You know, out of control, reckless. It was a red card for me, mate.
Aye, first viewing as well, mate. I thought it was a red. Just simply the speed they came at as well. No intent to get the ball, and Mikey Moore had obviously touched the ball away or spun before he was even making contact. So there was never any chance of getting the ball. Really surprised. Well, I say surprised it was only a yellow card, but I'm not really. But it's definitely a red card in my opinion.
Aye. Well, and then you're thinking, right, go and see it out. But see, the problem is, mate, you've got to get the second goal. That 1-0. It was 73 minutes when I sort of thought that Danny Rowe was starting to see the game out, mate. You know, and I just think you're inviting one effort, one shot, one mistake, yeah, and you're in trouble. And we paid a heavy price, mate. You've got to go and win the game.
Aye, especially with 10 men, you'd expect to go and get the second goal and just put the tie to bed. Sorry, so. Again, that's a frustration element because you're sitting there against 10 men with 5 defenders on the park, which, again, for me, it's probably the first time I'll say that I think Danny Rowe got it wrong tonight, mate, in terms of the substitutes. Maybe not so much the team selection, but the substitutes just trying to impact the game rather than trying to see it out. Just go and win, get the second goal, and that kills all nerves and any kind of chance for Motherwell to get back into the game, which, as you say, it's cost us, mate, 2 points, which could be vital.
How the two white men, the right stayed on for as long as they did, in my opinion, was I don't understand. We've got the personnel on the, you know, you've got people that can come on and play. You've got Olsen, you've got Asgard, you've got if you are trying to see it, you've got Romans, and you can move Magoma up one, yeah. You know, and I just don't understand. They worked hard in the second half. Well, Mikey Moore worked hard, you know, but without creating. So you needed fresh legs for me, and obviously it was a difficult surface. You've seen that all night for both teams, you know. And as opposed to the neutral, it was pretty exciting. There was a lot of tackling, a lot of, but for me, we lack quality, mate, in the final third. Yeah.
Aye, it is, and again, you could look at the team selection of who the three were up front tonight, and you look at the comparison to the energy the other three that were sitting on the bench brought against Kilmarnock. Of course, circumstances played into it. They were down to 10 men, but that's when I thought you would have seen the fresh legs on to just go and put all the territory into Motherwell's half
Ant-
and just
Ant-Man
control
even
the
on the
game, mate,
left.
see it out.
Ant-Man even on the left with his pace, mate, up and down
Mhm.
and he'll put, you know.
Yep.
You know, similar to Easter Road for maybe Gassama, mate. I don't think he likes it. He doesn't like it when it gets rough, mate.
I think it's a team thing rather than just an individual, mate. The last two away games, as you say, very similar to Easter Road. Didn't they do a lot in that game to win it, and the night didn't do a lot to win it. So it's two away games that 4 points are dropped, which in the grand scheme of things, you don't want to be looking back on and thinking what if. But if you play as good as we can be, and we have shown, then it's 4 points that you should have took home with you back to Ibrox and won. So again, it's a frustration, disappointing night. We know obviously Hearts scored last night, their score tonight, so it's a bitter one to take, mate. A bitter one, but it's not over yet. There's still a long
So
way to go. But of course,
we have to
you're
go
frustrated tonight.
again, mate. But you have to go and win games. You have to play better. We have to create more chances. We have to look at our system, mate. Because we're not creating enough away from home, mate.
Yep.
I don't know if, and also I've got to be honest with you, our centre halves, Tavernier and the goalkeeper spend too much time on the ball. You know, and
Yes.
some of the particularly A3 in the first half, they put us under pressure a lot.
They did, and that's when it becomes pedestrian. You don't want it. You want the fast-moving football away from your goal when it's sitting kind of pedestrian-like. It's just you're inviting teams to come on and pressure you, and you can pay the price for that as well. You can get caught in possession, and it's a last line of defence. It's a recipe for disaster. So simple making the pass, but you've also got the movement in front of you as well. So if people aren't moving, then you need to be recycling the ball elsewhere, not just standing still but looking for somebody to make a move, shout at them to move, or they should be seeing movement. But again, mate, it's a real frustration. It almost feels like a defeat tonight, the way it's worked out.
I just felt when we've done it myself, mate. I just felt that I think that, listen, I'm not saying that it's easy to be smart and you're watching the game. I just think we got the substitutions right. And we needed energy. We were about the hour mark. And we made one substitute. Yeah, and it made sense. Diamond had been booked and he did work hard. He had worked hard. And he's played a lot of football, so you're looking at energy levels. And then big Tucci, he is a game on own, mate. It just shows you how short we are in midfield. We'd need to replace him, and he'd run his race as well.
It does. It's an area that we spoke about before even during the transfer window. It was still an area that we felt was slight, even with the addition of Chuck Wuyani. You still felt you needed an extra body in there just as cover because you don't have that ready replacement on the bench. You're having to reshuffle your shape and your personnel, which isn't ideal. Again, mate, I'm more disappointed with the fact that the substitutes weren't done at the right time and the right ones never came on for the injection of energy and freshness. That's my thing tonight, that I feel we've wasted a good opportunity yet again. But as I said, it's not over yet. There's still a long way to go. So it's bitter to swallow, but as you say, you've just got to dust it off and go again on Sunday.
Right, we're back to the phone lines open, Jess.
Sure thing.
All right, let's hear from these.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
I've got to say, if we had seen the game out, I would have said I would have been delighted with the result, but no delighted with the performance, mate. Yeah, but I would have took the result all day long.
You don't want to be losing games, mate. But as I say, this feels like a loss, just quite deflating. I think there's a lot of. As I said, I thought it was going to be nervy and edgy, kind of almost panned out like that. But you don't want to be taking draws. You don't want to be taking defeats either. I think there's a lot of people going there night with anticipation that we're going to get a win, whether it be comfortable or nervy, as I said. But it's just a bit of one to swallow because obviously the score so late on, but you've still got the added time on, and we didn't really push anyway. You couldn't tell Motherwell were down to 10 men. They just kept the same game plan.
No.
You've got to give them credit. They stuck to their guns. They played well. They moved the ball well as well. We couldn't cope at times with the overloads they were doing and the pace they were doing it at times as well. So ball retention for me in the first half was a big problem. They just, as soon as we got it, it was just a hoof up the park and it came straight back at us. There was no out ball at all.
Aye, we couldn't keep it. And when United did knock it on our day with nothing, there was no. He's too. There's nobody near him at times, mate. You know. Listen, I don't know how he was fantastic, but you judge a striker on maybe if they score or that. He was involved in a couple of bits and pieces, mate, but nothing. Apart from that shot, mate, it's never really. There wasn't any. I don't think there was another chance after that, was there?
Not that I can recall, mate. Not that I can recall. Not a clear cut one that you felt had gone a begging, if I'm being honest. Again, that's the. You look at it and you think chance creation was never going to night. Is that because of the personnel selected? Stanley Rowe now got an idea now that he has to stick with certain people. I know that's not about taking risks and stuff, but sometimes you've got to take the risk to get the reward.
Aye, well, if he was thinking about the other game, I mean, the criticism will come. I understand it. I maybe don't agree with it. You've got to think of the big picture sometimes. You've got to win the game that's in front of you. You know, he's maybe thinking of the pitch and the minutes that everybody's played, but we never got to see Olsen or Romans. Yeah, and well, was it sports science that put them at the game, but they didn't think it'd improve our team? Well, I don't know, mate. I struggle to understand that. And funny enough, I might have brought Asgard on sooner, you know, just for legs and put Ryan up front, mate, because I thought Jermaine had ran his race with about 70 minutes, maybe even 65, mate. So you've got to use your subs. It's part of the game, mate.
Aye, we spoke about it in the pre-show. You can obviously have up to 5 subs, and the timings was just too late, in my opinion, and it wasn't the right ones at the right time either. So the red card, I thought, was almost a game changer where you could have injected the freshness, the energy, the legs, as you're saying, just to control possession comfortably. And if you get a goal, great, it kills the game off. But if not, you're retaining possession well enough. But we didn't do it. We just didn't respond. Motherwell got what they deserved, to be honest with you.
Aye, well, we did. We got what we deserved, mate, yeah?
Yep, sucker punched.
Yep. All right. Disappointing a lot of things. Disappointed we never created. You know, we got a lot wrong. I mean, he swapped Moore and Gassimer a couple of times, mate, and it never worked either way, mate. You know, Gassimer just on the left, he was on. He started on the right, yeah, and he never influenced the game. Neither did Mikey. I didn't think in the first half. You know, and they've got to sometimes get close, and they've got to try and get involved, mate. And then they've also got to go with their runners. Yeah, they're always chasing, giving themselves too much today.
No, trying to cover the extra ground that you don't need to be doing if they just are close at each other at times as well, and even shuffling across to stop balls coming in the box or the press. The press was good the first kind of 5-10 minutes. Obviously, we get the goal, but the press as well was decent. We were high up, but after the goal, we just dropped off and we just didn't play. I think it was almost like 1-0, right? Shut up shop and try and see it out. But you can't do that for a whole game. As I said, Motherwell, they looked threatening every time they came forward. They were putting in dangerous balls. They were winning corners. They looked they were going to score at some point, mate. You just felt it was coming. We just needed that second goal, but we didn't do enough to get that ultimately. And again, it's poor. It's there's no other word for it, mate. It's just poor.
And the other thing it all is, mate, you can talk about how good our set pieces have been. They were awful tonight.
Oh, can they beat the first man? Could not beat the first
Awful.
man. You'd 2 or 3 different takers with him as well. So weren't good at all. As I said, I thought it might have been something that played into our strengths tonight, but we didn't use him effectively at all. Especially when you've got in the dying moments as well. You've got Giga, you've got Suter, you've got Fernandez, Naderi. Couldn't find a single man.
Well, at one time, the dairy end, Mitty, Fernandez, Suter, De Giga, yeah?
Yep.
Doesn't matter what size you are if you don't get a ball in.
No, exactly, mate. And even thinking back now, we're talking about like winning headers and stuff. Raskin cleared one after the line brilliantly in the first half as well. When I cast my mind back, he managed to get up higher than the two Motherwell players, so that just shows you the threat they brought as well. But when Raskin's put defending it on your line, it showed you the threat that they were coming as well. You just felt that nervousness that it was going to come at some point.
I think that's the problem sometimes with a 4-2, you know, and then Diamondi doesn't know where to stick or twist, because then the midfield three were very, very narrow, mate. So unless your wide men come in and work, mate, you're keen away all that space, and that's what happened. I mean, Nat O'Donnell was coming down there and putting crosses into the box. Come on. Anyway, we'll be joined by Billy. Evening, Billy.
Oh, how's it going? Oh, it's all right, mate. No, it's not all right, is it? Honestly, that's don't know where to start missing, by the way. Honestly, first, you only get what you put into this game at football. It doesn't matter if it's down the park or Champions League football. You only get in you only get out at what you put in. I thought the gaffer got the team wrong tonight. I was bewildered with his selection. There was no hunger. There was no desire. I thought the system was all wrong. I thought we had a brilliant chance to go shove it right up against Hearts again, go into the game at the weekend. I thought we bottled it the night big time. We get down to 10 men. Sorry, they go down to 10 men. And they looked a more hungrier team. I mean, they were winning second balls when we hardly won a second ball a night, you know. I mean, and then you look at the goal we lost, you know, but we were camped in inside our own 18-yard box for the goal. You know, that's totally unacceptable, Ox. You know, but we've got a man up. There should be no way we should be getting overrun with a man. So obviously somebody's not doing their job, you know. And saying that, talking about playing with 10 men, we were playing with 10 men all night because, as far as I'm concerned, Gassama would never never put an Rangers jersey on for me. And the way he went off the park sulking is absolutely terrible. Honestly, Ox, I mean, my missus said to me, she says, I didn't think this Rangers team wants to win the league. That was my missus's words. I don't think this Rangers team wants to win the league. I mean, you look at Celtic tonight, they scored the last kick of the ball. You look at Hearts last night, they scored the last kick of the ball, and we can't see that game out tonight. You know, that's the difference. You know, and see to me, just to finish my wee rant, Mucker, I think the writing's been on the wall for the Dundee game, if you ask me. I think we've just been papering on the cracks. Yes, we've scored goals, etc. But listen, the Dundee game flattered us big time, and so did the Kilmarnock game. And obviously, you throw in the European game in between that, and then we've took 8 goals off a team that's sitting in the bottom of the Championship. You know, so to me, that one's on the manager tonight, mate, all day long. For his team selection was all wrong, and even when he brought his substitutes on, why did he not change it? Change it a wee bit quicker. You know, it was wait, and you could see it. You know, the first half and all, I says, I would take Gassama off right now. Right now, I would take him off and put Olsen on that side. I says, because he's contributed to nothing. I says, but Ken, what'll happen? I says, you'll leave him on the park, you'll give him 20 minutes or something, and they'll tinker with a wee bit, and they'll tell him what they're doing wrong. He contributed nothing again. And he's got the cheek to walk off that park, you know, wasting time in the heat down and all that. And, that's an empty jersey as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I've praised him on this show umpteen times, guys. And I've said, he's a typical winger. He's in and out of form. But his attitude is stinking. Absolutely stinking.
I wouldn't have started him, mate, but it's all right being wise after hindsight. But I was surprised it appeared in the second half. I was surprised that he was still on after 60 minutes. But I've got to say, Billy, the result and the performance wasn't just on him. As much as I thought he was poor, I didn't think Mikey was much better, mate, particularly in the first half. I thought he got a bit better in the second half. And Chermiti, it's a real inexperienced front line, and even Big Ryan's inexperienced. But because we only played with the two, and and dear Mandy was pushing up beside him. Big Tushy ran his race, mate, again, and for me, they always want to bring on there with fresh legs was Stirling. If you're trying to shore it up or whatever, and particularly when it's 10 men, mate. And I also, when they took Tab off, I didn't think Tab had a good game. But again, if you're doing that, I'd have kept him on and went we had the three centre backs and two. I'd have maybe brought Romans on and put McGowan in front of him. But I just think there was a lot wrong. And by the way, a lot of people are saying it's on the manager. People talk about team selections. My criticism, he picks the team, he picks his team. My criticism was I think the substitutions were too late. Robert?
Aye, that's the same as me, mate. I think, as you said, team selection, he goes with what he picks and what he thinks is the best to do the game. But he's shown over the games he's done already that he's not scared to change it up. But tonight, it seemed to be a different approach. Even after they went down to 10 men, it was almost 10 minutes until they put on the triple change. But I expected, as soon as the red card was given, to see the fresh legs on the park, give us energy, give us width, spread them out, make them chase the ball. But we didn't. And it was very, very unlike Danny Rule, because he's showed a wee bit a ruthless side before where he can go and change it, he can adapt, but tonight it didn't. It's like he was just trying to see the 1-0 out. It almost felt Ox like he didn't believe we were going to get a second goal with kill after the game, so he wanted to try and shoot it up. That's the way it came across to me, mate. And as I said, I think he's got the substitutions and the timing's wrong.
Billy?
Ox, I couldn't agree more with you. You know, that obviously Tav didn't have a good game, but I thought I would have kept him on just for his experience alone. You know, but I thought you talk about Chermiti. Well, he was isolated to that, because that's what happens with that system. I'm sick saying about that 4-2-3-1 system. I'm sick saying it on this show and try to point it out. If that system does not work, if there holes or the system, if it doesn't work as a big massive unit, a 4-2 and a 3-1, it's all got to go together. If it doesn't go together, that's where you find all the pockets of space, and they exploited it tonight big time. You know. We're chasing shadows all night, Ox. Let's get it right, mate. We're chasing shadows all night. What's that, mate? Aye.
You run into the inside left and outside right, then you pull out, mate, and you're in the acres, mate. Acres.
I know. Ox, I sat. I can't believe I'm going to say it again. I sat at the Aberdeen game under Van Bronckhorst, and I watched that system up the top of the Copeland. I sat and watched it with my own eyes, how that system works. And then I went in, I read up on it with big Pep Guardiola and all that, and Terry Henry, and done a wee bit of studying it. Now, I'm not a tactical football genius, right? And I'm not saying that by any shape, fashion or form, but I know how the game works, right? And that system does not work if it's no work. It's got to work as a unit, right? And we went to Parkhead there and all. It happened, we were getting overrun in the middle of the park. Why? Because we didn't have enough in the middle of the park. Because we're sitting with two holding midfielders. There it happened there the night. We can't Motherwell got to come out the traps, fleeing at us, right? Because they played, they've been on a good run and all. But listen, Motherwell got what they deserved. You know, my opinion, mate, we shouldn't even got a point, because we were terrible. Absolutely terrible. And
we got what we deserved at all, Billy.
Correct, mate.
But I mean, Mr. Fox is asking about the penalty incident. Well, by the way, the guy stood in the back of Chermiti's leg, yeah.
Aye, listen, I've seen them game for that, Ox, to be honest with you. I looked at it, you know, if I'm honest with you, mate, I didn't think it was a penalty kick. You know, I didn't think it was a penalty kick. Whether I took it, if I would have got it, absolutely, you know. But I didn't think it was a penalty kick, mate. Chermiti's had two great chances. Maybe the first one you could cut him a bit of slack because the way the ball broke to him, right? You could say, right, it's hot the target. But what's he doing for the second one in the first half, mate? But you know, where's his composure there? Can he not drill that ball into the ground or take a touch and pull it on his left foot? Where's his composure? Where's his thought process as a striker? You know, everybody's all ranting and raving about Chermiti this, Chermiti that, because he scored 2 goals against the Celtic. You know, I thought he was actually going, I said, well, listen, that lad, he's done that, he could go and kick on his career now. You know, he's done the hard bit. Let's see what you've got now, son. he's went back away. You know, and then he's just threw a leg at that. I mean, what height is he? About 6'4" or something, 6'5". He threw a leg at that one that came into the box in the second half and all. He threw a right foot at it, and he's hardly made contact. If he's a big bustling centre forward, he should be throwing himself at that for a diving header and taking him, the ball, the keeper, the lot out. But he doesn't do it, eh? And then he's rolling about, oh, my ankle's sore, I've got this. Nah, no for me. He'll never do. I said it all along. And the wheel's just been pulled out of our eyes with him. Telling you that now.
You get
Listen,
judged with a striker.
Sorry, mate.
You get judged with a striker and the goals you scored, mate.
That's right.
You know, performances can be important, but you get judged on the goals you score. Look, everybody's disappointed. I understand it fully. I was more actually disappointed with the first half performance after we got the goal. I thought, right, okay, we can see there's holes in their defence and we can get them. We never passed the ball. Robert, we never threatened. When they were coming forward, our distribution was poor, our choice of pass was poor, we were slow and pedestrian, mate. And we brought a lot of the problems ourselves.
Aye, they were, mate. And I said it at the start of the show, the ball retention, even when Motherwell were pressing up, putting us under pressure, as soon as we get the ball back, there was slack passes, getting it back to them, inviting the trouble back onto us, and then you're hoofing it up the park. There's nobody up there. Chamiti was at the inside our half at the D. There's no wingers. It was just coming straight back at us. And that, again, that's a frustration for me as well, that we get the early goal. You thought, right, they're up for it. They're showing the press. They're getting an early goal. The wind's in their sails. The fans are behind them. But no, we just sat back, mate, and just invited Motherwell onto us. There was no outball. There was nothing. There was nobody getting the ball and trying to drive forward either. And if they did drive forward, there was nobody in support. They were getting outmanned, outnumbered in midfield, into defence, 3 or 4 men round them. And then that was it. Back Motherwell, passing quickly, efficiently, and putting us under more pressure, mate. It was just consistent for that whole first half, and as soon as we get the goal, we didn't step it up. We sat off. We dropped a gear. Stepped up a gear.
And then I thought we controlled a lot in the second half, Billy, but we didn't create. Yeah.
No.
And, I mean, nothing doing the wings, mate. Nothing.
No, we didn't create. To me, that's been abundantly clear for a wee while now. That's what I touched on going way back to the Dundee game. You know, we're not creating nothing, mate. But the night, mate, I thought we were hanging on at the end. You know, it was like we were a team with 10 men. That's what it looked like to me. Their desire and their hunger and their battling, and you know, their togetherness was there in abundance. And ours was like, we were like rabbits caught in the headlights. Honestly, there's no way, Ox, Robert, there's no way we should be conceding a goal like that with 10 men playing against 10 men and a goal up to the good with a man up in that part. There's no way as professional football players, mate, that Rangers team should have been seeing that game out. Right? They should have been stretching the life out that team the night when under that situation. We've got a man, exactly what you're talking about. Get the width, right? Width creates space, right? That's what we and had them chasing shadows. And if they wanted to sit in, let them sit in. Just knock the ball about them in front of them, because they're the ones that need to come at us. And we couldn't do it. We could not do it, and that's the frustrating thing, you know. So, we'll probably go to the week on Sunday now and likely beat Hearts. That would just like the way it would go lately. Honestly, Oxford,
everybody's frustrated, Billy, and disappointed, and obviously we'll ask questions of the manager, knowing his term. You know, we'll draw, as I said after Easter Road, we will draw games again. You know, but it's how, and they 2 performances within a couple of weeks have been disappointing. And if you take the 2 games, we've hardly created nothing.
But what did I say, Ox, about? Mind you asked us before the transfer window shut, mind you said to me, what kind of players do you want to bring in, Billy? And what did I say to you? I don't know if you remember. I says a centre forward. I got my centre forward, and I says a creative midfielder. That's what I said, because we're too similar in the middle of the park. There you go. What do I know, but
Aye, I think we need somebody passing in, and I thought Big Tootsy done all right in the first half without being outstanding. You know, I actually thought the midfield three worked hard in the first half. You know, but I didn't like the shape, Robert.
No, we also spoke about it in the pre-show, mate. We're trying to figure if it's going to be the two sitting with Diamondi pushed into a 10 almost, or a flat 3. I think, obviously, in hindsight, after the game, you'd have been better playing the flat 3, if I'm honest, just because you covered more space. You were having less gaps in the middle of the park, as Billy's touched on, that they exploited. So it didn't look right, mate. But initial thoughts, obviously, you start well, you get the goal, the press is there, everybody looks up for it. The midfield did work hard, but nothing else after that. It got to midfield and up front, there was nothing. Defensively, as Billy said, there's no way we should be conceding a goal like that in the last couple of minutes of a game, especially against 10 men. But I said this before you come on, Billy. You wouldn't have known Motherwell down to 10 men because there was no change in their plans. They just kept coming, they stuck to their gun. So, listen, as much as we are disappointed, you've got to give them credit as opposition. I know we don't like doing it, but the team in front of you, they've came with a game plan tonight. They've went goal down early, but they've responded a lot better than what we did. They get an extra kick up the backside, and we didn't. We sat on ours. That's the difference.
See, another thing I know, Robert, which is frustrating, right? We've got all these wingers, seemingly, right? And we're struggling to find a number 10. You've had Asgard played in there, right? You've Diamondi was playing in there the night, right? You've had this one, you've had that one. We've got a number 10 there for Tottenham. That's that laddie's position. Mikey Moore. Why does, and for the life of me, I do not know why he's not playing in that 10 role. I can't fathom it out in my head, mate, honestly. Does he bring other attributes to the game, cutting off either side? Aye, he does. But to me, that's where he can hurt teams. Right in the heart of that defence, running at defenders with the ball in there and getting them turning. Because that laddie's got all the ability in the world, and that's what's nullifying that laddie. He needs to be playing in that 10. And how the gaffer doesn't see that, I do not know. How he sees other players playing in that 10 role in front of him, I don't know. I really don't know.
Aye. Well, I would have, before the big moments of the game, I would have maybe took him off for it. Listen, get yourself on mute because we're going to hear from your manager, Danny Rowe.
Danny, just your reflections on the game.
Yeah, disappointed at the end, yeah. When you drop 2 points, it's tough to take. I think general we started really well in the game, we were aggressive, we played a fantastic 1-0, it was really great football. Then we have to be honest to ourselves, Motherwell was then doing the first half the better team. We adjust some things in the half-time, then we were more controlled, more organized, was much better. Then you have 2-3 moments where you can score, we can also speak, you have to score for the 2-0. And yeah, then finally you get the red card, and with the red card it changed a little bit the direction of the game. They had nothing to lose then, all in, long ball, second balls in behind, go for set plays. And finally it hurts, yeah, because it was in the last couple of weeks our strength. We were well organized by set plays today. In the second phase we didn't. And then you concede a very late equalizer. Yeah, finally disappointed today, but we know on Sunday we have to go again, and there's a next big opportunity for us.
Yeah, is that always a danger when you don't find that second goal, that you can be stung in the way that you were?
In football, I think it's possible. I think this is crucial. When you make not the 2-0, then the team is still, the opponent is still alive, and there's one situation, yeah, like in this moment, and then they scored, and then 1-1. It's hard today. Today we should be disappointed with the result, and on Sunday we have to go again. It's our job.
Yeah, you mentioned there, is it about learning from tonight and just full focus on Sunday now?
Yeah, I think we knew before this was the expected hard game, tough game, high intensity game. Both teams tried something. You have to be very online in all situations, and in this last final situation we didn't. For me, it's about reaction again. I think that was our strength in the past, and yeah, this is what we have to do again on Sunday.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Aye, well, he said all the right things, mate. You know, he said what he said, you know, and he's disappointed, and so are we, Robert.
Aye, he is, and listen, he said there, is it about learning from the night? It is, but also he's got to learn from the night as well, I think. And I hope more than I think, I hope that he maybe realises that team selection is going to be crucial going forward. Timing of subs is going to be crucial going forward, going into next games ahead, because there will be a lot of people questioning the team selection and the substitutes tonight of when they were made, who was coming on the park, who wasn't involved tonight. I think that's a learning point for Danny Rowe to make as well. It's not just the players that need to learn, it's the manager as well. And as I said earlier, I think it's the first time in his career ways that you could turn and say he's got it wrong tonight. Maybe not in the team selection because that's what he picks to start. Fine, no issues. But he said there, they were going for it, they were pushing in, all in, nothing to lose. If you're not getting the second goal, well, react to it. If you don't have getting the second goal with the person that's on the park, you need to change it up and try and get somebody. You've seen the impact the subs can make against Kilmarnock. I know circumstances they're down to 10 men, but so are Motherwell at a point tonight, and we didn't react.
Aye. Aye. For me, the danger was coming down the wings. I don't know what you thought, Billy. It didn't look as if they come through the middle. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. No,
carry on.
I think they were trying to break at pace. You know, the press, and then when they get the ball to play the wee boys in behind they try and they were talking about it before again. They try and shoot you in, then play the wee. They're quite. I thought Motherwell were quite brave on the box. If that makes sense.
They played good football, mate.
They were brave on the ball. You know, when they were trying to play the passes. But that's the kind of things we should be doing, Ox. You know, I mean, listen, Mucker, I'm not throwing the towel in. The white or putting the flight flag up by any means, but I'm beginning to wonder about these players because they're getting chances here to shut this gap at the top of the league and put the pressure right on Hearts. And when you look back at the stupid points we've dropped, and there are 2 points dropped tonight again, you know, I'm beginning to wonder about these players' mentality. You know, we've put so much pressure on ourselves for the next game. It's incredible. I mean, we should be winning that game tonight, seeing it out. Going to Ibrox on Sunday, winning on Sunday, and we're joint top of the league. You know, instead of that, we're going to play them on Sunday, right? And we've got to win that. We've got to win this game because if Hearts come and turn us out, it was going to be very, very hard for us to turn the league campaign round, mate. It will be. We need to try and be realistic, mate. Eh? And if we day one, we're still. Sorry, Ox. And if we day one, mate, we're still got to be 2 points ahead of them. You know, so instead of going joint top, we win. Hearts have still got that safety net of 2 points, you know. Honestly. It's so frustrating, it's so frustrating, eh?
Aye, well, listen, the rain was on the wall. I mean, the boy must have sat before him, mate. We were all over the place.
Exactly.
You know? Aye. Well, brought on Asgard and Miofsky to try and see a game out. Yeah, we've got Romans and Olsen. Romans has looked decent so far, I know, but for a cameo, just to see it out, mate. Olsen's got 40-odd caps for Denmark, yeah?
Aye, 22-year-old.
Aye.
Well, do you know that?
Admin as well.
Do you know that, Ox? I couldn't agree with you more there, mate. Honestly, I could not agree with you more. You know, you've got a guy there, a young laddie, it's 22-year-old, who's 40-odd caps for his country at 22 years of age. Yeah, here we have a manager here that doesn't think this guy can do a job against Motherwell. And he plays a young, what do you call him? What's his name? The left back, mate. Magoma, aye, sorry, my mind went blank there. He prefers Magoma against him. You know, it seemed I looked at the signings and the big, looked at the big laddies playing with that Rangers. They're all 6 foot and all that and going like, you know what, that's a statement right away. That's a presence on the park, you know. And if they can use their physique to go and bully teams, and you know, I said we'll be all right. And then I thought we were powder puffing it, Ox. I really did, mate. I thought we were powder puff, mate. And it's come back and it's bit us right on the the bum, shall we say, and that's me putting it politely, mate.
Well, we had to change our shape and make sure if we're deciding we're going to see it out, you don't bring on Majowski and Asgard. Let's be brutally honest, Robert. And I'm not saying they were at fault for the goal. I'm not saying that at all. But
Nah, if you want to see a game out, you don't need to have two strikers on the park. Let's be brutally honest. We weren't creating enough to have two strikers on the park. We weren't gaining any chances. Nadiri was dropping deep, as you said, he went into that 10 position, but rather than a kind of a physical presence up front. So if you're going to kind of see a game out, you would just put on somebody else. Even if you put, as you say, Romans into the back, and even if Stellum into the midfield, just to shoot it up, mate, like a 5-4-1, something like that, just to shoot it up. If that's what the game plan you want to go and see it out, fine. But again, the personnel that he brought on, it felt like he was trying to get a second goal without doing anything, but also not addressing the fact that Motherwell were on top of us. That's the frustrating thing for me. But listen, as I said, there's still a long way to go. I'm not putting up any white flag or anything like that because you can see.
The writing was on the wall.
Of course, mate.
The guy, Suter made and Butland made the save just 2 minutes before they got the goal.
Yep, free header. Probably should have scored, to be fair. If he puts it back across goal, Button's got no chance.
You know,
Sorry, Ox, that to me, mate, that's down to laziness. That's down to players not going with runners, not doing their job properly. Because there's no way. There's all right, 10 men work that wee bit harder, we understand that. But there's no way if every player in that Rangers team's doing their job properly, we're always going to have a man spare. Simple as that. As simple as that, guys, you know.
That we had 3 big defenders on at the end, mate, and they had two chances. One went in the net, it came for headers, and one obviously the guy could have scored, mate. When we go to defenders, maybe that's the problem, mate. You end up with too many, and it ends up clawed to you, to me.
Aye, definitely. I mean, Robert said a 5-4-1. I would have played a 4-5-1, Robert, just to give that extra couple of bodies in the midfield and stretch and get the width, mate. You know, the back four would have been all right. I'd have kept the back four the way it was. You know, I wouldn't have bothered swapping. I wouldn't have took Tavernier off either, as I said earlier on. I'm sure the rest of you agree, but I kept that. You know, I would have just tinkered with that midfield because that's the engine room. That's where the games are won and lost in football. You know, obviously your defenders have got to do their job to keep your goalkeeper, etc. Keep the ball at the back of the net. You know, obviously your striker's got to put the ball in the net. You know, but that's your midfielders. That's the key area in a football park. You win that, you win the game. You win the midfield, you win the game. So we had the man up in there, and we could have stuck another one in there to stretch the life out of the team, and we should have seen that out. And I can't understand. The substitutions at the death here. I really can't, mate.
No, I would have left Tavon, and I think I need to look and see when the subs were done. But I'd have left Tavon, and I'd have put Sterling in there. Yeah, and just put Nadiri up front, mate. That's what I would have done, yeah.
I'm just looking at the subs now. Diamandi 60. Sorry, Robert. Sorry.
On you go, mate. I was going to get back with subs out, but carry on.
Tavernier 86, Diamandi 62, 86 Mikey Moore, 74 Gassama, and Chermiti 86. So he's made a treble substitution there in 86 minutes.
And who did they bring on to see the game out? Asgard and Majowski, mate, were 2 of them.
Sterling.
Aye, yeah. Sterling for Tav, mate, straight swap. Asgard and Majowski on the keeping the ball. Yeah, yeah. We know, we've watched them, they don't keep the ball, do they?
Just to put it into context as well, Ox, they get a guy sent off in the 78. As I said, it took almost 10 minutes to see any reaction. Whether it was to go for the killer and get the second goal or tighten up, it was too late to react.
And by the way, the sub 4 minutes before the sending off took too long as well.
Aye.
I got Gasman.
Aye.
That substitute should have been made at half time, never mind this late on in the second half, Ox, as far as I'm concerned. If you're not doing the job, you shouldn't be playing. It's as simple as that. You may be short in training, But I said it before and I'll say it again. If you're going to show it in training, you've got to carry that out onto the park on match day, right? Because if you're not doing it, then somebody else will come in and do it for you. They'll take your jersey. And how on football performances that we've all been watching our last 6 games or so, how Gassama has got a start or played in a Rangers team is bewildering. Bewildering.
In his 75 minutes that he played, Billy, he got 21 touches of the ball. 21 touches. The most our forward line had was Mike Moore with 33. Our highest player was Raskin with 53. MD else behind him was Tavernier, Chukwuani, Dija and Suter. Tells you where we played the game.
Say no more,
Well-
Robert. Say no more, son.
It's where you get the ball wrong, you know. You can have a good game as a winger and touch the ball 6 times, mate.
That's what you do, but when you get it, we never done nothing.
You know, nothing in the forward areas. And plus, the problem is if he doesn't create the forward areas, he's not got a defensive bone in his body. He just lets runners go after him. And, you know. But listen, I'll say it again. As much as his performance frustrated me, it was a team performance tonight, Billy.
It was, of course it was. Yeah, man, mate. There wasn't, you know, we can pick scapegoats out all we want, mate, but you could look right along that full Rangers team, you know, and as I'm sure all Bear will have his homework done in that one with his ratings out of 10, etc. But I struggled to see anybody that got more than a 7 tonight, mate, to be honest with you.
Well, I thought Jijiga was our best player, mate, and that says it all, Robert.
It does, as I said, up to the kind of last few moments, him and Suter kind of handled things pretty well. Both comfortable attacking the ball in the air, going to ground, intercepting it, even bringing the ball out of defence at times, looking to try and build something. They looked to kind of 2 that were pretty decent enough. Raskin obviously gets the goal, but other than that, mate, again, as you say, it says it all when you're talking about your centre backs.
And the problem is when our midfielders get booked, you know, they've got to watch anything, you know, especially when the part was tricky, innit? You know, and people were sliding and timing. They're likely to make some move, catch somebody, second booking, and you're off apart. So you've got to play the game differently. Also, but we didn't have the personnel. That's the problem. We are still short of maybe a body in midfield or light for light at times, you know. And I don't know what you think, Billy. I thought that Big Tucci done okay the first half without being outstanding, but I thought the second half, like Chamiti, around about 65, maybe 70 minutes, I thought he ran his race also.
Aye, he did, mate. He looked as though he blew out, didn't he? You know, and then Termiti's he's no played for 2 or 3 weeks or whatever the case may be, a full 90 minutes, you know. So, but listen, I'm not. I can maybe cut Chukwuani some slack, right? Because he's just only in the building. But I'm not cutting Termiti any slack. You know, he knows what it's all about, or he should know what it's all about, mate. You know, regarding being up to speed and whatnot, match fitness, etc. All right, he took a wee knock in that, but even that, mate, it's a cut. It's not as if it's a muscle tear or anything like that. So, you know, he looked miles off it tonight, I know, mate. Honestly, he looked miles off it. You know, he was back to that way again. I've seen him. He just got eased off the ball again. You know what I'm saying? Look at the size of you, son. You're 6 feet plus. You should be a big battering ram. You know, I look back to the days of Morelos and Igamani and all that, right? There's no way they're getting bullied off that ball. There's no way. They're shoving folk out the road. They're occupying 2 and 3 players at a time, you know. And the defenders against Chermiti, they're quite happy to leave 1-on-1s with him because they know.
He had the chance in the second half. He only had to take the ball with him. It bounced his way and he had to take the ball with him when he was through in goal. Don't know if you noticed that, Robert.
I did. He got on the goal side of McGinn and somehow he just never took the ball with him and McGinn recovered. But you saw his reaction after it. Rather than trying to work back and win the ball back because you're 1-on-1, he just threw his arms up in the air and slapped the ground in frustration. Just get back in, win the ball back, work your socks off. But see when you're saying there, Rocks, about the midfield where you're saying we're light, you're playing the three of them in the night. Does that come down to, again, the shape of the team to start
That-
with? If you've only got the three, should you be playing the three and just not having one as a cover on the bench?
I would have played the three right, mate. No criticism of Danny Rowe for that. I don't think he had a lot of options, mate. You know, you're talking about, you know, people get different views on asking, but if he plays, he's arguably my best midfielder. The boy Tucci's come in and looked okay with the physicality he's got. And then you've got a straight competition between Asgard and Diamonde, and Asgard's not done enough for me. But I would have still brought him on. I couldn't understand why we didn't put Nadiri up top if you want to change that and put Asgard there and just take Jamiti off, because I thought he'd won his race. Last word, Billy boy.
Frustrating, mate. Just to touch on that, mate, I'm a sucker for a 4-4-2, mate. That's what I'd have played tonight. And I would have played the same midfield. I maybe would have took Diamondi out and put Chukwueze in there and played Raskin in with Ant-Man and Olsen down the flanks, you know, because you would have got more out of him down the flanks, and played with two up front, be it Naderi, Majowski or Nadiri and Chermiti, whatever way you wanted, then you could have swapped it round. But listen, it is what it is. We're all frustrated. But there's nothing we can do about it now. We lick our wounds, mate. We pull our socks up and we go to the game on Sunday. And listen, we need to win this one on Sunday as far as I'm concerned. Because if we don't, we're going to put ourselves right under pressure, and Hearts will know that,
Aye, of course I will. Robert?
Aye, mate, same as Billy, frustrated, mate, obviously with the result and the performance tonight. It's two dropped points. But as we said, you know how quickly things can change in football. We drew at Easter Road, and then within a couple of days we were closer than we thought we were going to be. And I'm hoping that's going to be the same come Sunday, mate. Forget tonight, it's past, can't change it. Go and focus on Sunday now, get 3
Win
points
again.
and get us right on their tails again. Aye.
Win again, but
Cheers for
Go
me
to
as
play.
always, mate. Appreciate it.
go to play better, mate. Go to play better. Right, thanks to Billy and your good self, Robert, for joining us. Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. Rangers will be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10, and I'm sure we'll be debating some of the same points. Take it away, Old School Blue.